Hello and welcome to Out of the Box, the creative industry podcast. This week we are talking all about 7 steps on how creatives can give themselves the best opportunity at getting more work.
Sounds great. What do you want to do? Jump straight into it, or?
I reckon we just jump straight into it, yeah. It can be nice and snappy.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I guess this podcast is to sort of help just how we've done things, really. Like, we always say there's probably a lot of other ways, but these are things that sort of worked for us, haven't they, over the last couple of years, as to reach more people and turn those people into clients, really.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first for number
do.
1?
I can do, yeah.
Take it away.
So for step 1, we have networking. And personally, I think this is a massive part of getting work and just a massive part of the industry in general, to be honest.
Yeah, so what just describe networking for us.
So networking is basically getting out there and meeting new people, speaking to new people, more like-minded creatives, building relationships that way and making connections. So things like say for example, me, who's a recording engineer, music producer, going to gigs is the best place to meet new bands, because there's people gigging every night in cities or towns, usually, even bars. You can always find someone playing, so go into them kind of events and just getting to know them, chatting to them.
Yeah, it literally is just talking to people.
Yeah.
And by knowing more people, they'll know someone who might want to work with you, or that person might want to work with you. You might bump into someone. How many times have we been at gigs like, oh, I know you because of so-and-so, and you recorded their song, like, oh, you have to give me a shout, and I'd love to come in, and blah, blah, blah. It's just as my mum would say, it's not what you know, it's who you know, isn't it? Like,
oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. We've done it a lot of times where we've been out and we carry, well, we don't do it as much now, but we used to carry business cards with us a lot, and I used to just give them out to everyone and anyone pretty much at the start when we were first starting out. Obviously now we've got a bit of more of a client base, we can be a bit more selective, but I definitely think they're a bit of a must.
Yeah.
If you're getting out there trying to get more work for initially.
It's also the easiest and free.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to pay to go anywhere. Like, go to gigs. If you're a gig photographer, go to gigs, find people who will let you take photos and just meet other photographers, that kind of thing. But yeah, definitely something that I'd probably say that we haven't done enough, really. Yeah,
we said at the start of this year that this was probably one of our goals as well, wasn't it? To sort of go to more events and things like that.
Just meet more people, yeah.
Last year, the Pentatonic lads put on an industry event, which was really good, and that's where I met Stan.
Right.
So that's that off the back of just meeting him and getting to chat with him, managed to record an EP.
Yeah.
And he's thinking about booking him for another couple of singles as well. So
someone that you wouldn't have known if you hadn't just left the house, basically.
Exactly, yeah. It's just as easy as just turning up.
Cool. Move on?
Yeah.
Cool. We're quick firing these today. Okay, so number 2 we have down as building a strong portfolio. So this is just a collection of your best work that if someone says, oh yeah, I'd like to work with you, like, what can you show me? This is what you want to show. If you're a photographer, it's your best photos. If you're a videographer, music video director, it's your best music video. If you're a producer, it's your best single. It's what you say, here's my best work, and this is what I want to be represented through.
So my question to you is, which I already know the answer, but this is a conversation. How do you build a portfolio? Like, what sort of platforms can a portfolio be put across as?
So, speaking for us, our best portfolio has always been our Instagram, I would say.
Yeah.
From day one, we use that as the modern day, I guess, portfolio. It was, obviously, Instagram was like a photographer's platform at first, wasn't it? So, sharing photos and stuff. So, we use Instagram to share our portfolio. And we still have, obviously, as we've grown, our website is now our portfolio. Our Instagram is still our portfolio. And then, obviously, our other social media platforms and stuff. But then we also have an actual portfolio. So if somebody says, oh, I'd like to come in for a studio photo shoot, what work do you have? I will send them our studio photo shoot portfolio, which is just an online link to an online portfolio.
Yeah.
There's some great platforms to use though. So if you don't want to delve into like buying a website domain or building a huge website because you're a wedding photographer who just wants a page that says, here I am, here's my wedding photos. We used Adobe Portfolio for a while, which you can sort of turn into like a website, can't you? And it's just visually really nice to send to people.
Yeah.
It's almost like a website take on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it just highlights all your work really, really nicely, and you can send that around and there you go.
Nice and straight to the point.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
Building your portfolio, obviously, I guess you could say, how do you build your portfolio? It just takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as you're starting out, we spoke in last week's episode about the potential of working for free. Quite a touchy subject of working for free. I think it all depends on the context, but you have to sort of give and take when you're building your portfolio. Is it worth working for free because you've got a good opportunity to get something in your portfolio?
Yeah.
I used the same example last week, but I'll just say it again now dead quickly. We knew we wanted to shoot some product videos. We didn't want to go to Asda and buy a can of Coke and make it for no one. We got in touch with some beer companies and offered it for free because we wanted a product video in our portfolio. We offered the video for free. They said yes. We then had a product video in our portfolio, which then turned into more product video work.
Yeah.
So
killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah. But
Move on.
Yeah. Sorry, I just completely talked for that
We're
whole
absolutely
one.
flying through it. So step 3 we've got down as marketing and promotion. And I know this is something that we as a business want to do more of this year. And that is things like promoting work through your website, social media and other channels similar to your portfolio, but maybe monetizing it and putting more sort of financial backing behind it so that it crops up in people's search engines and things like that.
Yeah. I know how important this one is, but like you just said, it's something that we need to improve on massively. We know how effective it can be in the small times we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like running ads on our posts about the rehearsal space that we offer. We know that if you can market those ads effectively, you can reach new people. Obviously, there's things like your SEO within your website and stuff that can help drive more traffic into your website. But it's just quite a complex. It's a job in itself, isn't it, to be in advertising. But I think marketing and promotion, especially marketing, your marketing is your brand really, isn't it? So if your brand is strong and consistent, then you're always promoting.
Yeah.
Because you don't always need to, run huge ad campaigns or marketing campaigns. I guess you could argue that you're always running a marketing campaign. It's like for us as a visual business, everything we post is part of our brand, so it's always part of our marketing, really.
Yeah. Creating a cohesive sort of like visual sort of aspect of promotion as well. Like what you say. Maybe I'm just chatting shit. But
What?
that's what you're trying to say, right?
What?
So like creating sort of an identity for yourself visually and the way you go about things. Yeah.
That's still your marketing. So still work on like your consistent, quality that you put out. And that, like we spoke about, your Instagram might be your portfolio. It's also how you're marketing as well, I guess. It's all part of your brand identity and
Social
stuff.
media is massive these days as well. Like obviously you mentioned Instagram, but things like TikTok and sort of like short form video
all of
content.
which you can run ads on now. You can run ads on TikTok and stuff. And we've done a podcast, I think it was like in the first run of episodes about, ads and stuff like that. And it's quite an in-depth thing that we're still getting our head around because it's all about finding the right market. So what I've done in the past and what we've done is, say you want to run ads about the rehearsal space that we run. The best thing to do is to run 5 ads, £10 in each one, let's just say for math's sake. And one is like 18 to 30s. One is, 18 to 22s in Manchester and Liverpool. And you run 5 ads that are slightly different. So each ad only has £10 on it, £50 total, whatever. And each ad is slightly different. You let it run for a week each, and then you come back at the end of the week and you look at which ad performed best, which ad had the most engagements, which ads got clicked on the most, which ads turned into messages, and basically just which performed the best, what got you the most out of what you wanted. And in that case, it would have been, inquiries. So ad 3 that was aimed at, 18 to 25-year-olds in Manchester, in Liverpool and in Warrington, that was our most effective ad. So then you take that up and then you put £100 into that audience. Mm-hmm. So on Facebook and Instagram, you can obviously, choose who you're going to. So make a wide net, find out which one does the best, and then invest into that audience rather than just throwing 200 quid at everyone. You need to be honing your ads into who you want to see them and which one's performing the best.
So, well, I've got step 4 as something different, but sort of whilst we're still on the topic of finding sort of that sort of market of people, I've got here as step 5, so we'll use step 5 as step 4. And that's specialising in a particular genre, style, or just finding your niche, which I suppose sort of ties in with that. So if you can find your target audience, hone in on that, and focus on that sort of, whether that be age range or demographic in terms of like location, like geographic.
Are you talking about this from an ad perspective, or just general getting work perspective?
This is just a getting work perspective. I'm just sort of linking it to the last point, yeah. But if you can find out what your demographic is, like what you specialise in, then that potentially could allow you to get more work. Like, especially if you're like particularly knowledgeable about, like, I always say this about myself, like big drum recordings. If you know like 10 bands out there that are after a big drum sound, like go to them, because more often than not you're going to get work out of it compared to going to people with a really small drum sound
or electronic band.
Do you know what I mean? So if you know your strengths, work to them, I suppose.
Yeah, I think this is something that not we've struggled with because we've done it on purpose, but when we started, we were very, very broad, weren't we? Mm-hmm. So it is our unique selling point as well that we offer quite a lot of things, but as the business got older, those things have narrowed down and down and down and down and down. Because if you want like a gig photographer, you're going to choose the person who is a gig photographer, not the person who is a gig photographer, a food photographer, a pet photographer, this photographer. You're going to want to look at their portfolio and be like, right, you are a gig photographer.
They're specialists in the field.
A specialist is that. So I think sometimes you think, oh no, I'll offer more because I can do more, I'm more attractive. But then there's that saying of like, jack of all trades, master of none, whatever. Mm-hmm. People would rather work with someone who is a specialist in just one thing and they do that one thing, but they do it better than everyone else, than do it with one person who does everything. Yeah. So for example, we've stopped. We at one point, offered graphic design and stuff like that, but we don't really offer that anymore. Yeah. Because it wasn't really our thing. But what we do offer is less, but we are better at that now because we have more time on that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So niching down, you think it makes you less attractive, but it actually makes you more attractive because people look at you as what you are, not as the one thing you do out of 10 things.
Yeah. Do you remember that podcast that I got you onto? The two American fellas.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What it was called? What was it called?
Six Figure Creative.
6 Figure Creative. They were always hyping up about finding a niche.
Yeah.
As they call it in America, a niche. And yeah, I agree with it basically. Like from listening to their sort of ideas on it, it helped me sort of understand why going a bit more narrow and funneling out things that you're not specifically specialists in will help you.
I think I've struggled with that, to be honest, because at one point I used to think, well, no, I'll offer everything. And in certain extents, depending on like who you're working with, it can be attractive to say, yeah, we can do that, and we can also do that as well. Like, don't go to two places. That's what we've always been great with. We can say, yeah, come for us for audio, come for us for video. But then I've been like, oh, we'll do this as well. But at the same time, you want to be able to, like I'm just guessing repeating myself, is you are more attractive if you are just the best at that thing.
Yeah. That, what you've just said there, sort of links into another point I've got in here, though, which is offering a unique perspective or approach.
So is this number 6?
That is number 6, yeah. I mean, it's number 7 on our page. I'm messing everything
Let's
up.
not confuse.
But,
it's number 6.
Yeah. So number 6 is offering a unique perspective or approach, which I suppose our unique perspective on things and our approach to things was always the one-stop shop sort of idea for musicians to come in, record a single, album, EP, whatever they want, and then get loads of video content, photography content, all in one place, so that they're not splitting up everything. Yeah. Which obviously sounds slightly contradictory to what we've just said, but that as two people now,
Yeah.
that has always been our business model.
Yeah, I think if we look at our business, it's sort of two people funneling into one business, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Two different industries funnel into one. So it's not like you're offering audio services and video services.
Yeah.
You are offering audio services and I'm offering video services
Yeah.
as part of our business. So
Yeah.
it's sort of a bit of a loophole, but yeah. So we have the unique perspective of being able to offer that as a business of you don't need to come to one person for this and then go and see that person, and then by the time your release is finished, you've seen 5 different companies or whatever.
But if that's not your thing, then take this point by sort of like being open to new ideas. If you're a person that's open to working a different way to someone else, then that can be attractive to someone. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
For example, I'm going to use the big drum sound again. Like, say I've got a specific sort of technique I use to mic up a drum kit, which gives the big sound, and it's different to what someone else would use. Then that makes me more attractive to, say, Joe Blogs down the road that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And it's just all about being open to sort of new ideas and ways of working. I suppose you can apply that to video as well, like the way you run a music video sort of shoot.
Yeah, it could be something like you shoot all your music videos on, Super 8.
Yeah.
That could be your thing. I mean, a unique selling point doesn't even have to be an actual thing like, oh yeah, you shoot on Super 8 or the way you do your drums. It could just be you as a person. You might be really calm to be around, and as a photographer it's really unique, or you might be super super bubbly as a director, and that's the way you come across, and that's why you're unique. It doesn't need to be the way you do things. It could just be who you are.
The one person that springs to mind when you said both of those things then to me is actually a guest that we've had on the podcast back in season 1 when we were in the old studio, and that's Jess.
Yeah.
Her as a photographer, working with her as a photographer is completely different to working with you as a photographer. Not to say that one's better.
Yeah.
But Jess gives different ideas to what you give.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you, depending on what sort of application you're after, someone would be able to choose between either you or Jess.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Jess is really, really good at sort of creating ideas and
directing,
things like that. Directing, isn't she?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
that's what I mean. Your USP can be what you offer as a person, which is really cool. You don't have to get hung up of like, oh right, okay, I'm going to start doing something mad so that I stand out. Like I'm going to start shooting all my photos on film because I'm different. If that is who you are, great. But what I mean is you don't have to force it.
Yeah.
You can be unique because you just are unique.
You do you, boo.
Yeah. or maybe your unique perspective is how you do your portfolio. Maybe you do your portfolio different. Maybe you, instead of doing your portfolio on Instagram like everyone else, it's all VR. I don't know.
VR.
And you go into a virtual gallery.
Sounds pretty interesting.
It sounds pretty cool, actually, yeah. Right, so we are now on number 6.
Step 6.
So we have down as collaboration.
Yeah.
You want to take it?
I'll let you. Unless you can't.
No, that's fine. So, believe it or not, you think that people in the same industry, you are working against each other, but that's not the case, is it? You wouldn't believe how much work you can get working with people as opposed to against them by sort of building each other up and growing at the same time as them, as opposed to feeling like you're in constant competition with people. Don't get me wrong, in the past we have felt in competition, but I felt it's through no fault of our own. We've always been open to very much collaborating with people in where we live, Warrington and stuff. You will go through the stage of people copying you and not talking to you about it. That's obviously very, very different. But this is all about sort of getting on a project together and not being like, oh, there's another photographer there, we're in competition. It's all about working together.
Couple of occasions I can think of where we've done that is sort of at the crawler shoot when we worked with Ash and Jess.
Yeah.
As part of like a 4-man team. That was really cool, really collaborative. Like we all knew our set place and what sort of differences we could each offer to that sort of specific project. And there's another couple of ones where we've worked as part of a team for broadcast cameras, where we've worked at like City and stuff like that, football for the football, and that's a very sort of collaborative sort of
environment.
Yeah, I was going to say space.
Tell you what's not a collaborative environment: wedding photographers and wedding videographers.
Yeah, they're like
that is a no collab zone. That
yeah,
I'm always super friendly, super friendly.
Yeah,
it's always photographers and videographers. I feel like in certain situations just don't get along.
It's probably because we're young creatives as well. Like you get a lot of sort of older, stuck up, sort of
stuck in their ways
guys that are shooting weddings and things like that, which is a bit typecast of me to say, but it is true. It is true, and you're always going to get that whatever sort of situation you find yourself in. You get that with audio engineers. Like there's a lot of audio engineers that are set in their ways.
They don't want to collaborate.
Yeah, like no computers. Computers are the devil kind of thing. Like we record on tape, and if we don't record on tape, then get the wax cylinders out. But you're always going to get that. So you've just sort of, if you're working in this industry, you just got to have tough skin and work through it. Haven't you?
I feel like it's better to be the one willing to collaborate, though.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we've always been like that. We've never been sort of,
standoffish.
Yeah, I hope not. I know I don't feel like I'd come across that way. But you collaborate with everyone. If you're on a music video, you're collaborating with the band. I feel like a collaboration doesn't just need to be like, let's work on this together. It's when you are on a job, everyone in the room needs to be on the same page. Yeah,
and even if you're working as like, say, if you're a freelance videographer, you're going to be on shoots where there's a producer potentially or a director, like a DOP. You're gonna actually have to collaborate with those kind of people. So like building your social skills up from that aspect is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And people will hire you based off the way you are and the way you interact.
Yeah,
with
I think so as well. I think was speaking about before about your your brand and your USP. Your brand is how you hold yourself.
Your personality.
Your brand isn't just what logo you slap on your Instagram. It's about how you carry yourself and how you hold yourself in those situations where you're called upon to need to be able to work with people. Because if you might be the best at anything in the world, but if you can't collaborate and you can't work together with someone, it's a hard job for everyone involved. Everyone's been in school and you're in a group of 5 and Johnny over there does no work and gets the same grade as everyone else. You don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to want to work with you again. You got to chip in and do your bit.
Knuckle down.
Right then. Last point.
Final
number 7.
step.
Yeah, do you want to take it?
So I've got number 7 as staying up to date. And I've got down here in the notes that it's sort of staying up to date with latest technology and techniques and continuously working on improving your skills as a creative. However, I don't think it's massively important to stay up to date with the latest technology in terms of like owning and using that gear in certain scenarios. So there's obviously going to be aspects of things where you want like the latest technology if you're working on things like broadcast and things like that. Like that's very important to sort of stay ahead of the game. But like we said about using your unique selling point, if your unique selling point is you shoot everything on Super 8, don't then think that by us saying this you need to go out and get the latest sort of like 7 million K camera. Like that is not what we're trying to say. But I think staying sort of up to date with sort of like modern day like ways of thinking and sort of the way people work nowadays, I think is really important to stay in tune with that.
I think another way of wording it as stay up to date is just to keep relevant.
That's better. Probably a better way, isn't it?
Because like you need to be able to adapt to certain situations. So, for example, if you went on a shoot and they were using, say I edit on Premiere Pro and I've not updated it since like 2018, and I need to go and edit on a up-to-date DaVinci software, like you need to be able to sort of adapt and sort of be relevant to what's moving in the industry. And like you said, it's not exactly like how you would shoot something. You don't have to constantly change your way of doing things, but it's sort of being open to the fact that new ways come about, better ways make themselves known. You can still learn. I think that's probably the best way of saying it. Don't feel like you're done learning.
Yeah,
You can
never,
always be
you're
learning.
never done learning, especially in this industry. Like, it's constantly like updating and sort of like things are being reinvented.
Yeah,
Like,
but you're definitely right. Like, how many Canon cameras have come out since we bought ours?
yeah,
Doesn't mean it's gone by the next 5 cameras. Staying up to date doesn't mean with gear or with, you know, a new microphone that came out last week. It's just about staying relevant and making sure that the way you work isn't becoming stale.
yeah,
Like our live sessions, we always look at them and think, right, you know, we've done sort of similar process a couple of times now. Like, how can we mix things up? How can we keep these feeling fresh? And it helps you as well, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. Things, you don't want things to ever get monotonous for yourself, do you? Like, so I mean, I'm all for learning. Like, you know, I'm like, I can get something in my head and that'll be me researching it to death. Like, I love it, but I think it's important in this industry.
It's sort of a little bit contradicted to what we're saying about your unique selling point as well, because what we're not saying is, oh, just follow trends. We're not just saying, oh, a new trend comes, follow that. Stick to who you are. Don't just change every 10 minutes. But keep learning, keep moving, keep one eye on the industry, keep one eye on people around you in a similar space that are maybe moving into different areas of ways of thinking or whatever. Yeah.
So that's our 7 points. I hope it has helped you and give you a bit more insight on how potentially you could get more work as a creative. I think the important thing to remember is that building a successful career in the creative industry does take time and persistence, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't just happen overnight. So I think you need to stay sort of like focused and
patient.
Yeah.
And I mean, these 7 steps or whatever, obviously there's probably 100 more ways people can think of getting work. These are what have worked for us in the last couple of years, and we're still working on them. You know, our portfolio grows every day. We're still learning about, you know, marketing, promotions and stuff. We're still staying up to date. We're still learning, and different ways work for different people. I think that's important as well. That can be a number 8 bonus one is do what works.
Yeah.
If you find something that you think, do you know what, this is working, once something sticks, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. If you're getting work and you're in a groove, try different things. Try steps 1 through 7. Try steps 7 through 100, whatever. Keep trying. We were talking yesterday, weren't we, about let's try this new idea and see if that works, you know, to get a different type of job. I guess it's always staying up to date as well. Is just find something that works, but always keep trying different things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That was short and sweet, wasn't it? How long was that?
Short and sweet, but
I don't know. Is that about 20 minutes?
Insightful. Half an hour. I've got about
half an hour. Oh well. Hope you enjoyed those 30 minutes.
Yeah.
As always, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. The last couple have been a little bit different, haven't they? More sort of niche down and specific ways. So let us know what you think about the last couple of episodes. We have a full season 1 to get through if you are itching to hear more from us. And let us know what you want to hear more of, and if you would like any type of guests to come on. We're going to start looking at getting some guests on in the next few weeks to sort of mix things up now we're settled in our new studio. And other than that, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much.
Or watching.